Alright, so I got this 2008 Chevy Silverado. It's 1500. And we got an evap code. So it is P0442 evap small leak. So I'm going to attempt to smoke test this to see if I can figure out what leak is. Over here, you see the little green cap right there? That's on the purge valve. That's the evap connection port. So I'm going to take that cap off and I'm going to remove the Schrader valve from inside because I don't really have a real smoke machine. I just have a homemade smoke machine that I got off eBay, which I guess works. I mean, it's a fraction of the cost. You probably make your own for relatively cheap money. I think this was like $100 on eBay. So, I mean, maybe I got ripped off. Maybe I didn't, but it works, sorta. So, it was worth a try as opposed to, what, like $600 or $800 for a real one. So, I'm gonna give that a try. Alright, so I got that off. I got the little hose hooked onto it. This is a reverse thread Schrader valve, so you have to turn it clockwise to remove it. Pulled that out. I got this hooked up. So, well, it's not fully hooked up yet. I'm just gonna go over it. So I gotta put obviously a compressor line into it, and I mean, it doesn't really give you a flow meter or anything, so you just gotta kind of look for the smoke. So when I bought this, the instructions that came with it said don't run it for more than, I think it was 5 minutes after you started to see smoke coming out of it, because I guess there's a wire in here there's a wire in there, a resistance wire that's wrapped around I think it's a wick, and it obviously it just gets hot and starts burning the mineral oil in there and starts smoking. So yeah, so I'm gonna finish hooking it all up and we'll give it a try. So I went into scan tool and I went to the evap vent solenoid, and I was just checking it to make sure it's clicking so I can hear it actually activating. So I know that the vent is activating. So a lot of times it can be that the vent's not closing all the way, or there's a little piece of dirt in there, and it's just because it's got a small leak. So I mean, it could still be the vent. If you can't find any leaks anywhere, it can also be the purge valve itself is not sealing, so it's kind of leaking through the engine. Is another possibility, or it could be a gas cap. I mean, it could really be a lot of different things. It could be the fuel pump rotting out on top. So being it's a small leak, it might be a little bit trickier to find, so hopefully we find it. All right, so we got some smoke starting. We'll plug that in. And we'll come over here and we'll close our vent. And I'll set the timer 5 minutes. So I'll grab a flashlight. So I mean, I can smell gas pretty bad back here. So I think maybe just the air coming through is blowing some of the smell out and vapor. So I'm gonna look around see if I can find it, and then I'll show you what I find. So, I think I found it. Looks like it's leaking around the fuel pump. I can hear a little bit of air coming out. I don't see any smoke, which is a little upsetting, but found it with some handy dandy 409. So there's my leak right there on the fuel pump there. So yeah, I knew I could smell it back here, and I could smell it around the tank. Couldn't see it, and probably still can't see smoke coming out. But you know, obviously that's my leak right there. So anyway, I guess ultimately in the end I was successful in finding the leak, but this homemade smoke machine didn't really do the job. I have had it come up with showing me a leak before with the smoke, where I could see it. I think it was a fuel tank broken, but I mean, it hasn't been very effective the entire time I've owned it. I probably used it like 4 or 5 times. I initially got it for a Suburban that I had that kept coming up with an evap leak, and that ended up being the purge valve in the end. It was intermittently sticking, and every time I went out to check it, I couldn't find it. But that doesn't mean that I would have found it with this, even if it was a leak. But yeah, so I mean, I've had it work here or there. I mean, ultimately it reduces the pressure enough so it doesn't damage anything. So I mean, it'll let me find that leak just by spraying some 409 or soapy liquid on there. So I mean, I could hear it, and I don't know if I would have seen smoke from that even if it was a good one. I mean, I imagine I would have. It didn't seem like it was a tiny leak, but I don't know. I don't have too much experience with the smoke machines aside from this. So I mean, it might be junk, or it might have just been that's what I was going to see regardless of the scenario, or regardless of the smoke machine that I used. It doesn't put out a lot of smoke either, so I mean, that could be part of the issue too. It's not like it's a cloud or anything, but I mean, if nothing else, the smell of it kind of leads you to where the area is. So I mean, it helps. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So anyway, hope that can help somebody. Thanks for watching.